Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Predicting Tranquility. Welcome to Season 10. I am so excited to be here. And tonight I'm joined by Private Ryan, familiar face from last season, if you watched the show. But we also have a new member, Troy Siwan. Welcome to your first, I believe this is your first time on Predicting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember. Didn't you do like the one of the brackets last season or something? I feel like you've been on stream at least a couple times.
I did Valorant finals like the
Mm-hmm.
first thingy, but I don't think anything else really.
Okay. I remember I saw you at least at one point, so it probably was that. Um, but yeah, welcome guys to the show. Very excited to be here. So if you don't know what predicting tranquility is, what we do here is we cast all 80 79 teams. There were a couple dropouts, so I don't know what the
Too
exact
many.
number is right now. But we're gonna talk about all of the matches, all 41 it should be. If we're max, it should be 82 and then 41 matches. But like I said, we had some drops, unfortunately. It happens. But we're gonna cover every team a little bit. We're gonna go in depth on a couple of the matches that we think are like key matches, ones that we think might be interesting to watch or might be closer than some of the others. But yeah, every single team will get some coverage. And then so I want to mention as well, that if you haven't already, in tournament discussion in Tranquility's Discord, we have a competition going on. You can post your scores, your predictions, for what all the matches are going to be, and the top five scores will be announced every single week on broadcast. We used to do prizes, kind of, or at least like punishments for the casters who weren't as great at it. So we'll talk about that. I'll talk about that behind the scenes if we're doing anything this season. But let's just get straight into the scores because I'm excited. We've got a lot of new teams to talk about. A lot of returning faces as well. I could not be more excited. So let's just dive straight into the Aurum A of Harmony.
All right. So starting off with ORMA, we have Clairvoyance versus Aimbots. Right now, there's myself and Choi going on for Aimbots. Nerf with a close match going to Clairvoyance. On the next match, we have Onigiri versus Basement Dweller. We have Nerf myself thinking it's going to be the side of Onigiri, and Choi thinking it's very going to be a close match for the Basement Dwellers. We have the Council versus Ragnarok Freya. All of us are thinking it's going on to Freya 3-1. And for the last match, we have the Colorado Carbon versus the Gatekeepers. We all think it's going to be in favor of the Gatekeepers, but there's me coming in saying it's going to be a 4-0. Everyone else thinking it's going to be a little bit closer of a match. I think out of this match, I think the one most interesting is going to be Onigiri versus Basement Dwellers. I don't know
Yeah,
about you guys.
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with that one.
Uh, yeah, with
Um,
Onigiri coming in and now they are just rebranded, and Basement Dwellers coming in that, there's not much that I know about them. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, so for me, I went with Basement Sellers here just based on what I know about Onigiri. So they had
mm,
that Ace High core that like exploded, and they don't have Seraph and Vex, who I thought were their two best players.
that's
So I'm
true,
just
yeah.
going with the fact that Basement Sellers will win based off that.
Yeah, definitely a hard hit for Onigiri there. I went back and forth, and I think I went with the Onigiri win before I knew that Vex and Seraph had left. But I'm gonna stick it with the score. Two new teams. We don't really know much about. I think we know relatively more, I guess, than about Onigiri than the other team. Um, so for now, I'll stick with Onigiri. But this first week, I mean, we know practically nothing, so a lot of these scores could go completely the opposite direction. Maybe Basement Dwellers are the new Season 7 flashbacks and they're not going to drop them out. We wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Um, I just want to touch really quick on Clairvoyance. Um, I'm going to talk about this team a little bit later in the week, but I think Clairvoyants are a dark horse. Um, Ambots are definitely a good team. I have it being a close match, but I think Clairvoyants are a team that some of the Harmony teams need to watch out for. Because what I liked their consistent improvement last season, and they're keeping the same roster. So definitely, uh, a lot to look out for from Clairvoyance there.
Oh, that's the same roster. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
much the same roster. I'm excited for
Mm.
them.
Aimbots
All
is
Um,
right.
also pretty similar, yeah.
yeah, Inbots is relatively similar. However, they lost a lot of their better pieces. what was the Falling Stars was the DPS player I was really
Yeah.
excited about last season,
Yep.
and now they're gone. I think that'll be a big hit. But I think I trust that team, and I think that hopefully the replacements they brought in are going to be sufficient. I'll say. And also, I just want to mention really quickly, in typical nerfed fashion, some technical difficulties. We don't have OBS completely set up, so I'm streaming a Google Sheet right now, rather than the actual, whatever graphics that we usually use. But we'll have real graphics next week. Um, so let's move on though to Harmony Aurum B, my pool. Yeah. Choi, if you want to take
All
it
right.
take it away.
So we got exhilaration versus positively aggressive. Most of us going for, or all of us going for exhilaration. Me and Ryan think 4-0. Chicago Mafia versus Doodles. Me and Nerf are the people going for Doodles, and then Ryan believes in the Chicago Mafia for this one. Then we got Flashbacks versus PP Plunderers. Everyone going for Flashbacks, except Ryan with a 3-1. Then we got Pulse Champ versus Luminous Foxes. Both of you guys going for Luminous Foxes based off preseason. They got finals, and then I went for Pulse Champ.
I didn't
So
go off
for
of
this one,
I didn't
yeah,
go
I
off
think.
of off of preseason. A little bit
Oh,
biased there,
yeah,
but
that's right. You got the bias.
but yeah.
Um, I think the two best games in this are probably. I mean, this pool is actually really cool. Actually, this
Yeah.
is my favorite pool. I think in Harmony.
Mhm.
I think this is Pulse Champ and Luminous Fox is probably the best game out of these. I think.
I could agree. I think both teams unfortunately got knocked out by the Galactic Penguins.
Yeah.
Um and I think honestly both teams had a good showing. I think and no bias here, I promise. I think both of these teams are teams to look out for. This is a tough pool. This is
Yeah,
this
this group
is
is stacked, low-key.
difficult. Like I think all the way down to like the sixth, maybe even seventh team could be competing for like a second seed by the end of the stage, which is crazy. So there's a lot of firepower in this tier, specifically in this pool. So keep your eye on this tier. Um,
No, I could agree 100% that, yeah.
mhm. So Ryan, I'm kind of curious, like I said, we don't really know anything yet, but what's selling you on the Mafia here? Because
All
Doodles
right.
have been formidable, and
Hey, they're not bad. Mafia aren't bad.
Mafia haven't exactly lived up to how Doodles have, I would say.
Okay. So first off, I want to go against the Doodles
Okay.
curse. So number one, and no one always knows don't bet against the Doodles.
Mhm.
I'm betting against the Doodles. I
Okay.
understand that, but the roster of the Doodles, remember right? It's the same roster from before, right? Because
No,
they moved up to Tranquility. They drank yeah Trance tier, and then they moved all the way back down, right?
They moved it
to
to
Discord.
Discord tier last season.
Discord tier. Sorry, Discord tier and back down. It looked like a
Mhm.
new roster. I wasn't feeling too much. Chicago Mafia, if you looked at it, they actually got, I don't know about you guys. I know a couple of the players on the team. They got some pretty decent pickups on the off season. So I think they're going to be a team that's going to be pretty competitive, uh, especially this season. Are they a team that bring it all in? They have a chance to actually go through, I think, but I think they're going to be one of those hard, grindy, middle of the tier teams, is what I'm expecting.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't really know a lot of the Mafia roster. I made an effort yesterday to go through and do my research on a lot of specifically the Harmony teams. Sorry, Discord and Chance, I was not able to do as much research for those tiers. Chicago Mafia kind of I just didn't recognize the players. I wanted to look more at like the newer orgs, because like we know literally nothing about them. But I think definitely Mafia is one that I'll have to keep my eye on because I don't really know a whole lot about what's going on over there.
Yeah. Anything that has to do, like, most of these teams are just scrimbucks, either off flashback codes or off of
Oh
GP
yeah.
codes I've seen,
Mhm.
or preseason. That's basically what I'm going off of. So if
Yeah.
scrimbucks suck, then like my Preds suck.
Yeah. The Scrimbucks, the Scrimbuck economy is just so it's awful. You will rise one week and the next week it will kill you.
Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way many a time. um, but yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
but
that's
that's all
really
that
all we
ever
really have to go
matters.
off of for now.
Just
So, Scrimbucks is all that matters. It doesn't matter about your actual tournament standings. But I want to move over to Harmony Indigo A. So here we have Chrysalis versus the Koala Kings. I don't want to discount Chrysalis because them beating Geometric in the preseason was unexpected to say the least, and I think that they're going to be better than they have been in the past couple seasons. But unfortunately, they go up against Koala Kings the first week. So just a swift 4-0, everybody giving it to them. The previous champions of Harmony tier. The next match, unfortunately, the Fighting Potatoes do not have an opponent as of yet. Looking unlikely that we'll be able to get somebody to fill them. At like only 24 hours left, so don't really think we're gonna have a match for Potatoes there, unfortunately. But the third match is Insidious versus Geometric. We've seen this matchup a couple times, and maybe it's bias, but I just love Geometric. They not just because I managed their team last season, but they signed like half of the Koala Kings roster that won season 9 of Harmony. So I think they've in general probably upgraded at a lot of the positions. So I went with a 3-1. Ryan agrees with me. Troy, however, giving the 3-1 over to Insidious. And then the final match is Eleni Makos versus Swordfish. I went with a 1-3 in favor of Swordfish, probably just because I know the org better. Um, Eleni's a newcomer to the scene. We've seen Hammerhead and Krabby Crabbers in the past from the Atlantic Esports, so I went with them. But Troy and Ryan, Troy making it a close 3-2 in favor of the Makos, and Ryan a full sweep for Makos.
I'll be honest, it's because Swordfish didn't have a roster like
That's
inputted,
fair.
so I was
That's
like,
that's
you
definitely
know what,
fair.
Marcus has a roster, Swordfish doesn't.
Yeah,
Mm.
for me, I saw LNE and it sounds like NLE Choppa, so I just went with Makers. I
you
won't
know,
lie.
I think a couple seasons ago it was Nagi who came on and just came on and said like, "Oh, I like the logos for this team better." And she just hit on everything. Like it was a bunch of upsets she picked, but just going off the logos, like, funny logos, so I'm going to pick them. It works. Sometimes that's just the strategy is to pick the funny team. Um any other thoughts from you two on the Insidious versus Geometric match, or you think, I mean, I kind of covered it a little bit.
I mean, I could see that going either way. I mean, both rosters look really strong right now. Like
Mhm.
they have a lot of veterans on it. I think either way, we're both thinking it could go back, but I wouldn't be surprised if Insidious wins 3-1 at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 3-2.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's valid. Like, I'm just like a little upset at how Geometric is performing when they're actually
Yeah.
playing. On paper, they look like not bad,
Mhm.
but then like they got first started preseason, and then the Scrimbucks again, not good.
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate showing against Chrysalis. Having talked with Wooly, and some of the players, it just seems like they were a little out of sync in that match. But I have faith. I know the org, having been there for a season, so I trust that they will be able to land on their feet, coming into the stage. And they definitely have the firepower on the roster to back it up. But going over to Indigo B, what do we have here, Ryan?
I would say this is the tier I know the most about out of all of Harmony.
Interesting.
So
This is
we
what I know
have
the least
Mets.
about.
So we have Mets Gaming versus Aries. We have myself saying Aries up 3-1, as Nerf thinking it's gonna be a close match, and Mets and Choice 4-0 sweep. The next match we have Eminence versus Strix. We're all agreeing that Eminence is gonna ride over Strix. Choi with the 4-0, Nerf and I 3-1, giving a map to Strix. Next map we have the Jersey Boys versus Closant with 3-1s for Jersey Boys for Nerf and Choi. Myself 3-1 for Disclosant. RIP. In the last match, we have the Galactic Penguins versus Firebirds. We're all think it's going to go the way of Penguins, coming out on top at the preseason, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Um,
However, asterisk there. I put that 3-1 just as a statement. Penguins are mortal now, I think, losing Adama. I don't think they're going 13-0 anymore. I don't think
yeah.
they're going on an undefeated sweep. I think that they are
Don't
mortal.
discredit Luna though. Never
I'm
discredit
not
Luna.
discrediting Luna. However, I think they're mortal. Not like I think there's definitely still a top, I call it, three team. Um, but definitely mortal.
It's valid. Honestly, I think the best game here is Jersey Boys Disclosing. I won't lie.
I
I
think
could see
so
this
too.
going
Yeah.
like 3-1 both ways.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. I
uh,
mean, I would agree, but again, I'm a little biased since that's my home team.
like that was one that I was like kind of iffy on. like choosing 3-1 in
Mhm.
which way. I do think it's a 3-1 though.
I think so too.
I feel it.
Disclosed and like kind of impressed me. Luminous played them in the preseason and they came out swinging. I was not expecting as much them to do as much damage as they did in that match. So I think Disclosed is definitely a team to look out for. Jersey Boys are just like I guess they're the fan favorite. You know,
As I
everybody
say,
loves the Jersey Boys, so kind of hard to
Jersey
root
Boys is
against
just one of
them.
those teams that everyone knows about, and everyone's like, yeah, I can be down with that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh,
I want to touch on Eminence really quickly. I'm gonna be talking about these teams later. Like I said, I'll be talking about what that is at the end of the broadcast if you haven't already seen it posted around. But Eminence impressed me. Like I don't know, I talked with their manager and I love the things I was hearing about this team. I don't know, they persuaded me that Eminence is going to be a top team this season. I don't know,
Yeah.
yeah,
something
I
about
re-
the way they were saying it.
yeah, I
yeah.
really don't think they'll be bad at all. Also their name sounds like Reminiscence. Like when I first read
That's
it,
true.
right? I thought it was just Reminiscence without the R.
Strix are
So
going to have a
Yeah.
fun time playing Reminiscence, yeah.
I yeah. I would say I've seen their teams. I know a couple of their players. They're gonna come out swinging. I think that would honestly want to be one of my dark horse teams. Is gonna be Eminence.
I think so too,
Um,
yeah. I need to talk to you more, Ryan. You have all the info on the teams that I don't know.
well,
So
when you got about 5 teams scrimming and you're helping out a bunch of other teams
that's
coaching,
yeah.
you get to go around the block a little bit.
Yeah, that'll do it. um Moving up to the Discord tier, however, for Orem A, what do we have here, Choi?
all right, we got the Tampa Bay Tryhards versus MI7. Everyone going with MI7. It's valid. Then we got Thunder Duckies versus Rem. This was also in stage one of last season. Again, everyone for Rem. Rem and
Oh,
MI7 being
true.
the finalists for preseason Fire game. Go back and watch that if you haven't. Then we got Puke and Dogs versus Wildfire. Some people inheriting the 3-1 spirits from that Spud score, going to Puke and Dogs at 3-1 curse still. But I went for the 4-0 against Wildfire there, and the Space Creator does not have a match.
Yeah, unfortunate. I don't even remember who they were supposed to play, but
No
they
clue.
just dropped out.
Couldn't tell you.
I think they were air. Were they air
No,
originally, and
Error
then
like
got moved down?
Oh yeah, error moved pools. That's right.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Um, what was your match though? I kind of cut you off, Troy.
It's got to be Puke and Dogs Wildfire.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't think it'll be that like fantastic. I think these are three pretty easy predictions.
Mhm.
Um,
I agree. I don't want to discredit the other three teams or other four teams rather in this pool. But it kind of just seems like at the very least the top two are decided. Maybe Tampa Bay Tryhards can sneak in there, but I would definitely put Puck and Dogs there. At third. I definitely mispronounced that. Ignore that.
Puke and
Puke and Dogs.
And
Um, I would put them there just because they had success last season. But yeah, definitely they have to inherit the 3-1 curse, of the Spuds. Um,
yeah,
but yeah,
I
this
mean, I will say on these though, I think the MI7. I like that match. I think that's going to be the best match to watch. I think the
I
MI7
agree.
tryhards. I think tryhards. I've seen them a few times. I think they have potential. I think they might give a couple very close match to MI7. I think that's going to be a real look into this tier, that Tampa Bay MI7, see how competitive this group's going to be.
I
they're
definitely
they're in like the Palm Beach Poggers org, right?
yeah, Palm
Yeah,
Beach Poggers
yeah,
and Miami Yikes. It's the same org
Yeah.
as those two teams, I believe. I definitely
yep.
want to see how this team does. But yeah, we don't really have a whole ton of info on them, or at least I don't have a whole ton of info on them right now. But yeah, definitely a very top-heavy pool, as evidenced by those top two scores, and those teams being the preseason finalists, and also last season's finalists, and the
Yep.
preseason finalists from last season as well. And we'll see this match 10 more times before the end of the season. It's all right.
Yup.
MI7
What? No,
versus
never.
Reminiscence. It's like the Community joke. 6 seasons in a movie. It will never ever end. But moving over to the Discord Orem B, we have Ragnarok Loki versus Trigonometric. Um, I'm a Geo simp. Uh, So I went with 4-0. The other two going 3-1 in favor of Trigonometric still. This match, unfortunately, we just got news a little bit before the cast that Rolled and Smoked are dropping from the tournament. So Royal Throne will not have a match this week unless somehow we are able to replace them. Replace Royal Flush or Royal Flush. I'm all over the place. But the team that dropped. Then the next match. Neither Ryan or I are qualified to talk about. Because it is just straight up bias. Jellyfish versus Redacted. Me and Troy going 3-1, and Ryan in favor of Jellyfish. That is. And Ryan going in favor of Redacted. All those scores 3-1s, and like I said, Troy is the only one who has a valid opinion of this match. Then the last match is Paradise Lost versus Culture. This is the match I kind of want to look a bit more in depth at, because we literally can't talk about the two above it. But Paradise Lost, they were the runner-ups back in season 7. Coming in with a different roster, but I think it's a lot to look out for. Definitely an org that has found success in the past. All of us going in favor of them. Um, so yeah, what are our thoughts on this match?
Which one?
Uh,
Paradise Lost Culture?
Yeah.
yeah.
I think this just Paradise Lost pretty handily. I gave Culture a map, just granted that it's not the same Paradise Lost as season 7, but they'll probably still be good.
Yeah, no, I think the Paradise Lost. I think they're gonna honestly be like one of those top 4 teams. I think they're gonna come. They're gonna impress people. But Culture, their org themselves, I think the org is looking really good. Especially if
Mm-hmm.
you looked at like Hush Hush, that was like their top team, was very successful. I still look forward to like maybe their org if they can get the top players. They're coming down. I think this team could also be a very good team coming out of it.
Yeah, I think Paradise Lost are one of those fringe teams. I think the top four is pretty set in my mind as to what it is. But Paradise Lost definitely like just on the cusp of that. For me. I wanna dispel a rumor real quick. I've been told that Paradise Lost is also in that org with Tampa Bay Tryhards and like Miami Yikes, those teams. Is that
I have
true?
no
Do we know if
clue.
that's true?
I don't believe so.
I
If
cannot tell you. I don't
As
think
far as
so.
I know, it is not. I can tell you in about
I
30
I
seconds.
don't think it's
I think
true,
Discord.
but if anybody in chat knows, feel free to let us know.
No, it's Palm Beach, Tampa Bay, Miami Yikes.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't know where I heard that rumor, but they definitely have like similar logos, so I guess it makes sense. I don't know. Anyways, moving over to the Indigo side of things, what do we have for Indigo A, Ryan?
And oop, I need to not say the same stuff again. All right, so we're starting off with Adrenaline versus Maelstrom. We all think it's going to be a very close match, 3-2 either way, with Nerf and Choi going for Maelstrom, myself going for Adrenaline. Next match, we have the curse match to me. Wildcat Boys versus Blobfish. We have Nerf and Choi thinking it's going to go Wildcat Boys. Myself thinking it's going to go Blobfish with the 3-1. Next match, UV Rays versus Avalon. We're all in favor of Avalon. And the final match is Wild Wind versus Drop Beat Bears. Nerf and Choi think it's going to be all Drop Beat Bears. Myself giving a map to Wild Wind. So,
Blobfish, I just
think
want to say real quick, your logo is terrifying.
it is
um,
terrifying, and then the cat boy, like it's you got cursed on both different spectrums. They're both amazing, but it's just cursed.
yeah.
But yeah, I think the match you talk about is the Adrenaline Maelstrom match. I mean, we all think it's going to be a really close match. I don't know about you guys. Do you think it's going to be close because you just don't know the rosters, or you think looking at the rosters, you think they're both good, both bad? What are you thinking?
I think both rosters are relatively mid, so they'll both go each
There we
other,
go.
and it'll be an insane mid-off.
I can't access my notes right now because I'm streaming my screen, but I don't remember what it was, but something sold me on Maelstrom. I know that like Maelstrom in the past has been the team that like they do all right in Harmony, and then they move up to Discord tier and don't do as great. And then they move back down to Harmony, and they're doing fine, and then they move back up, and it's not amazing. But I think they're coming in with a completely revamped roster, at least to my knowledge. I saw some pieces on this team that impressed me. can't say who it was, because like I said, don't have my notes on me right now. But I
Well,
definitely remember liking the Maelstrom roster enough to give them the edge.
it's
Hypernet
either
is good. Vic.
yeah, hype. Yeah, I mean, Hypernaut used to be on Redacted, so I
Hmm.
know him very well. He's a good DPS. It's got Triage, Manbro Dude, iconic.
Maybe Manbro Dude was the one. Who
Yeah.
I was thinking of. Um, but yeah, Troy, did you have your any thoughts on that match?
Not really. I just want to quickly touch on Wildcat Boys. I actually think they're a really good team. I won't lie. Like they were Rem's first round in preseason. They weren't bad at all.
No, yeah, they're I believe this is the same core of the season 7 Whirlwind Wildcats, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I
Exactly.
believe they were the Whirlwind Wildcats at some point in Tranquility history, before that org dissolved. Um, so yeah, definitely have like success and synergy if that's the case. Um,
Yeah, shout out
yeah.
Glycer. He's good.
Yeah, I was
Oh
gonna say,
yeah.
I was gonna say, Glycer is gonna, man, don't let him in your backline. That's what I'm saying on tank.
Yeah, I think
Glycer
Gliscor is,
make some chaos.
yeah, definitely an underrated player. Not a lot of people talk about like I don't really hear a lot of people talking about them, but I've liked what I've seen from their play in the past. Um, any other thoughts on this region or division rather, or are we good to move on?
I will say,
Okay.
Avalon. I really think Avalon has a chance to come out on top on this tier. I think they're one of the other teams. You look at their roster; it's about the
Mhm.
same as it was last season, and it's
Yeah.
just their players have gotten better.
Shout out Zasper. Zasper's a beast.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was really impressed with Avalon how they did in the preseason. I think Beat Drop Bears is my favorite for this division, but Avalon definitely a team that I'm looking at very closely. 'Cause they I think are completely on the up and up. Another team, who was it that I said earlier was just like the same core? Oh, Clairvoyance. Same core running together. Improvements throughout the entirety of last season, and now they're back. You know, in theory, they can only have made more improvements since then. So definitely excited to see Avalon compete this season in Discord tier. Um, moving over though to Indigo B, what do we have here, Choi?
All right, so Spice don't have a match, unfortunately. Then we got CC versus Poseidon. Everyone going with CC with 3-1s, except only me not being 3-1. Then we got Pride versus Error. This is like the match that just dropped. Like Error got moved, so
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, we got everyone going for Pride with different scores, and then we got Phoenix versus Tempest with everyone going for Tempest. I believe Tempest is the Full House roster, right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They were one of my other top teams. Um,
Okay. So best game, it looks like it's Pride Error
okay.
to me. Because I'm going off Scrimbucks here. Pride were they did all right against Rem in Scrim, so that's why I went with them. No clue about Error though. Really no clue.
Mm. Yeah, just to quickly mention that, I mentioned at the beginning of the show that there's the competition and tournament discussion. You can edit your predictions, so nobody has this match correct. I think everybody really put a 4-0 in favor of Pride because this used to be a forfeit from the other team, but now Era's there. So if you want, feel free. You are able to go change your predictions for that match, as well as any others if you feel like your opinion has changed since. Um, I think as for that match, I don't know. I just know the Pride roster a bit better. Um, I've scrimmed with them a couple times as well. I don't think they'll be bad. Um, and yeah, Error, not really too familiar
they're
with
just a
them.
yeah, they're an unknown factor. I think it looks like a bunch of new people. Type
Mhm.
Digital, so is the general manager who used to be part of or is part of Oath.
Mhm.
So it might be one of the Oath team rosters coming in under a different name.
Don't they
So
also? Do they have Voltage or was that a different team? I really,
they
really
have
wish I had my
Voltage.
notes. Okay,
Yeah,
so
they have Voltage.
I wonder then if that
So
is an Oath team. I'll have to do my research on that after the show. But yeah, I guess then I'm looking a little bit closer at Error. Because Oath did pretty well in their Discord tier run.
Oath did good, and then the players moved up to
Mhm.
Trance, and they still
Yeah.
have the Trance tier team. But yeah, I mean, it could be it's Overwatch 2. so
Mhm.
anything could happen.
It's true.
They had the real good thing in Overwatch 1, but I mean, they have plenty of solid people. It's a very well-known org. They have, if hopefully, still the best gaming lounge. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So,
What's the next, like, what's the runner up, like, in terms of Trank meetups, like apathy and like train, I they've got like a whole like stadium that they play in. It's crazy.
wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, in season 8, when Spuds played them, like when I was on Spuds, we played them, and they were in like a stadium. I remember.
Yeah, it's crazy. They play on land. It's awesome to see. Um Um, any other thoughts on this division? Just wrap them
Yeah,
up real quick.
I
Okay.
wanna shout out the Pride coaching staff. It's Monarch and Vix. They're both fire. So
Yeah, shout out to them definitely. I know Vix a little bit from a couple teams, but Monarch not as well. But I'm definitely excited to see how Pride does. Um, Ryan, did you have something real quick?
No, I
Okay.
disagree.
All right. All right then. Moving then up to Trans Orum, the Orum division. Only 3 matches per tier or per division rather in Trans tier. So our first match is Devil Dukes versus Fleet Angels. I'm being a little bit controversial here, picking Fleet Angels to win 3-2. Troy and Ryan both going 3-1 for that match. Then the other 2 matches, I think definitely a lot more one-sided. Guangzhou Gangsters being the preseason finalists, as well as they weren't the runner-ups last season, were they?
they were
They
top
were
4.
they were top 4, yeah, and then they were the champions the season before that, and like
Yeah,
preseason
and
champions
Epi.
like all the time. Um, so definitely like one of the favorites this season. Everybody going 4-0 there. And then Oath, I said that they had a good run in Discord tier. However, last season their Transcendence tier run was not as admirable. So everybody giving Reckless Delta, an org that I would say typically produces results. Everybody giving Reckless Delta there the 4-0. But I want to talk about the Devil Dukes versus Fleet Angels because I think this is closer than most people would say. And gosh darn it, if I had my notes, I would be able to support that opinion.
Um,
Um,
for me, my score is based off of preseason and scrimbucks.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, they didn't do too hot. I mean, they have Velzen is insane. They have some
mhm,
crazy players, like actually insane players. But like I think they'll take a while to heat up, so they won't be too
mm.
good at the beginning, and then they'll be crazy by playoffs. I promise you.
Fleet Angels, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And
Uh,
I think the Devil Dukes, like, no matter what their rosters, whatever, I think they've proved us right and we've proved us wrong way too many times.
that's
So
true.
I think of it consistent.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. Um, I like the Fleet Angels roster, but I could definitely see what you're saying, Troy, about them taking a while to heat up. I
Mm.
could definitely see that being the case.
They have to
Um,
unwash, unrust.
Honest.
yeah. Yeah, definitely could see that being the case. And Devil Dukes, I mean, they are just always good. So you can't ever really count them out. Um, I think it'll be a close one. Here's hoping. Um, moving over though to the Azure division. What do we have here, Ryan?
So you had me talk about this one. Tis. We have Amnesia versus Hammerhead. We all are in favor of Amnesia. I think it's a 4-0 sweep. You guys think Hammerhead's going to take a map off of Amnesia. We have Wyverns versus Classified. Nerf, think it's going to be a close match with Wyverns. Choi, one-sided Wyverns. Myself, going right for Classified with a 3-1 victory.
Of course.
The last match, we have Just Better Inc. versus Hades. We all think it's going to be Just Better Inc. With myself thinking 4-0, and you guys think it's me. Very close.
That
Uh,
is not the
I
Hades logo. I just realized. Sorry about that, Hades.
that is not.
This is what happens when you're running
Um,
on 4 hours of sleep. My bad.
let's see. Which I'm trying to think what would be the best. I mean, the only close match we think is Wyverns Classified, which I can let you guys talk about that and talk about
Yeah.
Classified all you want.
I just want to say I think Wyverns is really good. I like Brightside. I love Altair, and I love Fungin.
Mhm.
Fire players. So shout out those three. I think they'll be the difference in this match.
Ryan, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant about your team. I like Wyverns as well. I had the same thing, Troy, where I looked at the roster and I'm like, yes, this is a good roster. And then I remember Classified from last season, and I just could never get them right. Like it seemed like every time I would predict them to lose, they would win. Every time I would predict them to win, they would lose, and they just like they were all over the place. And I wanted them to win, but I could just never predict when it was gonna happen. So I'm gonna make it a little bit closer just because of that. I believe also this is like pretty much the same core at least sticking together for Classified, right?
Yeah, same core, and then from Redacted, Prime actually moved up,
Mhm.
so he actually joined the roster.
Yeah. So definitely they have the synergy there, which is always a factor I love seeing in teams. Um, yeah, I love Wyverns, but I can't predict Classified for some reason, man. And these are versus Hammerhead I think is also gonna be a bit closer than you might
Yeah,
expect.
Hammerhead is actually good. Shout out Kiddo.
Mhm.
Oh my god, shout out Kiddo in a ball meta. Oh my god.
Oh, it's just over.
That, well, that's what I wasn't sure because I was looking at Hammerhead has typically been like a Discord team, so I was
Mhm.
worried that that was like a Discord team moving up. You know, how is that going to react? Is it going to be like Oath was last season?
Mhm.
It was just a bunch of unknowns.
As somebody in the org, it's pretty much just the branding. There's a couple players moving up as well, but the main part is just the Hammerhead branding is moving up. Um,
Gotcha.
so yeah. But I like their roster. I think that they definitely can hold a candle to Amnesia at the very least. Um, and yeah. Then for the final tier, moving over to Indigo, what do we have here, Troy?
Alright, so, hold up. So Indigo, we have Billings Boomers versus Darlinger Bad. Everyone going for the Billings Boomers with Nerf going for a 3-1. Then we got Frost Nova versus Revital. Everyone going with 3-1 for Revital. Then we got the Hive Mind Halofites versus Singularity. Everyone going. Oh, just kidding. Me and Nerf going for 3-1 Halofites, and then a 2-3 for Singularity for Ryan.
What's that about,
Um,
Ryan? No, you
What? I
you
don't know
you
what
can
you're
go,
talking
Troy.
about.
You can
Thanks. Oh, what
yeah.
happened?
You can take your match. Go ahead.
All right, I'll take my match. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go mine the last match. Halifights for Singularity. I'm gonna
Okay.
be honest. I know nothing about Singularity. I know about Halifights though. They're the Gibbons core that moved up with Capital.
Yep, that's actually literally all we did was sign Capital. And Finiaf, but he was always kind of an honorary given last season. Even though he never played a match with us. Um, yeah, I'm not qualified to talk about the Halithites. Um, Ryan, what's your take? Seeing as you're the outlier here.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I looked at the Halifites and I was like,
Mhm.
hey, that was a bunch of people that are in Discord last season. And that's honestly what I was looking at. I was like, okay, a lot of people moved up. It's going to be a faster paced game. Are they going to be able to stand up to some of the other, trans level teams? I like to be proved wrong, so I hope they prove me wrong. But looking at Singularity, I mean, they have a pretty strong DPS core that I remember, as well as their tank, Meyer or Mir. I've seen them, and that's a pretty solid lineup of a bunch of unknown kind of players. So I've seen them here and there, but I think that's going to be a pretty decent team when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I couldn't see them. So I think this like Hive Mind this season will come down to if they have the Discord tier team syndrome or if they'll actually graduate to be a trans team. Because I know
That's
like most
fair.
of the players, like I know Sticko and Simon hit GM and stuff.
Mhm.
But granted, like this is like the season where everyone's hitting GM, right?
That's
So
true.
you
Yeah.
really do have to prove yourself regardless of what your rank is.
Mhm. That's what I keep telling them, is that they're not actual GM players.
No,
They're
no, give
they're
them the
hard
credit, give them
stuck
credit.
masters. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I see
And
how
shout
it
out
is, man.
Cap. Cap is good.
Yeah, Cap's okay. Cap's okay. I'm excited about my team. Hoping we can do well. But yeah, not too much else for me to say on that match. Um, I like
Yeah.
our new additions. Um, but that is it. That is all 82 give or take teams and then all the matches that would entail. Um Around this time, normally what I would do is I would give out the scores, who scored what each, or from the last week as well as the overall. But seeing as it's the first match or first week rather, we don't have any info to go off of. So tune in next week and we will see who the top five predictors were for this week. Um, Going into what else you can expect from this week. Tomorrow at 9 EST, we have the Harmony feature of Galactic Penguins versus FBRD. On Wednesday at 9 EST as well, Transcendence NA is Devil Dukes versus Fleet Angels. Like I said, it's going to be closer than people might think. Thursday at 9 as well is the Discord match, Ragnarok Loki versus Trigonometric. Um, and then on Tuesday, that'll be next Tuesday, not this Tuesday, unfortunately. New show Silver Slander. Super excited. Choi, you're gonna be there.
Yep.
Definitely excited to see how that looks. Going deep on the Discord tier, talking about a lot of the matches and kind of going a lot more in depth. To like give you the rundown of what happened. And then as well as that, on Saturday at 10:30 EST, we have Bronze Banter. Officially a Tranquility production. Finally. If any of you have watched Bronze Banter in the past, you know we talk about Harmony tier. Uh, just like I said with Silver Slander, go a little bit in depth, talk about the matches. And as the name would imply, there's banter. um, and then on Sunday, you might have seen it this week. After Scrims tonight, the late night show with Lord Thuggington himself. Again, that is Sunday at 10 p.m. EST. Um, that pretty much wraps it up. So unless either of you two have any final words for the cast, yeah.
So, nothing.
Yeah, I will say, and hopefully you guys feel the same way. No matter what, we all went in this with our best bets and everything, but I kind of hope I get proven wrong with a lot of these things. I
Oh,
Yeah.
want to see some of these
mhm.
teams like come out of nowhere and blow us out of the water.
I want to see a lot of the new teams specifically, just like
Prove us
pop
wrong.
off. Yeah, definitely. Do not be upset about the way the predictions might have gone. Go and use that as motivation. Prove us wrong, because I love nothing more than, well, unless it's Halifights, but anything else, I would love to be proven wrong. um, but yeah,
Hey,
yeah. Do you have? Did you say something, Ryan?
no, I'm good.
All right. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. We'll be here at the same time next week. I've been Nerfed, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you later.